Jumping into the last game between these two players, we have the Proto starting to the top right. Starting in red, it is...
Avenge.
There we have him, the StarTale player, followed by Red Bull to the bottom left with his opponent, the CJ enters Zerg. It is...
CJ enters Hydra.
Sponsored by massive company CJ, and as you can see here, Logitech as well. CJ, a huge company in Korea. And Probe coming in here, going to be able to block the hatchery for sure this time. And it's going to be a pool first. He's even going to be able to see that pool be placed. He'll watch it. He may even try to block it. It's going to be very difficult to do so, but...
And Avenge sticks to his build. He's going for the Forge build. He's not going to go for a gateway here with the pylon placement that we have.
You're right. Probe sees it all, sees the pool, and is even going to annoy the close patch here. But great counter micro by Hydra.
It's always so annoying when you have this probe in the main base, and it's really infuriating. The one thing that I cannot understand is why we don't see a proper block here at the hatch. Oh! He's getting it off.
I think he still gets it, yeah. He knows that timing really, really crispy. That was close, though.
I'm actually... Why did he build that drone? If not for the drone, he could have built the, the hatch. But
right.
Still, he's able to nearly kill the probe, so he didn't lose too much time here. That wasn't the best block, but still. Pretty weird.
Yeah, kind of weird.
Doesn't really make a big difference. We have a Nexus first here for our Protoss player, following it up with a Forge.
Thinking about that drone, I guess maybe he made it because he knew the probe was there, and if the probe had blocked properly, like as fast as the probe normally blocks, then he wouldn't have been able to make it anyway, so he was like, well, I'll just make an extra drone until my other drone can pick away at the probe. That's all I can think of. Kind of weird, though, still.
Of course, already in position, and if you go for a Forge first play, that Overlord has to be so annoying as a Protoss play. Look at it, but he can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
It's like, you have to wait for so long until you finally have the first anti-air unit out, being it either a Sentry or a Stalker. The cannon alone doesn't help you unless you are facing a very not smart Zerg player that leaves the Overlord right on top of the cannon.
Very true. And he's going to now wait a little bit longer for that core. Makes a second gate as he saw the Lings coming. He knows he doesn't want this to happen.
Yeah. Completely standard timing here for the expansion of Hydra, starting his third base at roughly 410 to 420. Cancels, of course, the second gateway Avenge that is to replace it with a cybernetics core, now that the first gateway is done.
Yep, core started now. And we could see any sort of timing from him. We're going to find out very soon where he places his pylon, and where, most likely what tech he's going to do. It's so intricate, pylon placements for tech, you can almost basically tell what sort of tech a player's going to go from where he puts his pylon.
Yeah. Daybreak is usually a map where we see a lot of Stargate openings, but the style that we've seen so far from Avenge kind of indicates that he's going to open rather with the robotics again than with a Stargate.
Yeah, he's really thinking outside the box with all of his plays. In the first game, he went for a really scary, fast third Nexus, then went into a timing, and then the second game went for that different robotics play.
The Stargate, after all, plays it with the traditional style, what you would expect on Daybreak. And you know, I like it. He's shown us 3 different builds. I actually expected that he would go into a Robo again and try and do something with it. But he's going down the normal route now, and this is a very different style from what we've seen on map number 1 and map number 2. So it might be something that Hydra doesn't really anticipate here. If you go into a best of 3 against an opponent, it's of course also a lot about the mind game. It's about what you expect and how you judge your opponent, what kind of player you judge him to be.
3 and 3 in both gases very early on here. He's going to need it to make those Phoenixes. Here are the first geysers being taken. There's the Phoenix. Going to chrono boost that out, and Avenge has several different options he can do with this. He can go for that gateway timing as we talked about before, or he can just try to kill some drones and transition into a third base.
And the third base, that's something that Hydra will meticulously scout, trying to figure out if there is a third. That's the thing that interests you the most. You want to know, is there going to be an attack upgrade? If so, where? Getting the Overlord in at 6:30 to 7 minutes. We have it right now with the Stargate being spotted, so the reaction for Hydra will be immediate. We already have Lair Tech, we will see Spore Crawlers, probably a Hydra transition. And for Avenge, no surprise there, robotics, and we will see the Bay just as a counter to the Hydra list that he expects now.
Robo's going down now here too, and he does not start +1 just yet. That's something that Hydra wishes he could see, but he's not able to do so right now.
Have the Roach Warren building here. Normal timing for that too.
Yeah, he's not going to skip it. We've seen a lot of players die by doing that.
You know, we've seen actually Sniper play a very interesting game against the Stargate opening with the Colossus transition, where he relied on Zerglings and Roaches, played very aggressive, denied the third over and over again, and just capitalized on the fact that those Colossi were very late in the game. So might be something that we are going to see here, but with the Hydra list then going down, it looks more and more like we are going to see a very standard game.
Yep, looks very normal. And, you know, there's the Bay again, very quickly. Avenge has been playing his upgrades on the Forge very, very late in this series. You get picks off one of the gas drones. He has 4 Phoenixes here now, so he's going to catch any stragglers he can find.
There's the Overseer, and he is going... No, he's not going to scout the third. He actually changed the path of the Changeling.
Picking off a few more of these drones, gets 2.
Yeah.
And here comes the Overseer.
Nice position here. Is going to catch up on the Robotics Bay. And we have the Spire being built.
He also very importantly sees no Forge upgrades once more, so he knows how fast this Robotics Bay goes down. Obviously, you can see it now, but even before that. And the Overseer will be picked off. Phoenix is coming all the way home just like that.
And once again, you know, I actually feel that the Spire is a result of him not scouting the third base. The third is now being built, but I am very positive that if he would have seen the third, instead of the Spire, we would have seen Infestation Pit to go into Hive, and then instead of Corruptors, get the Vipers out so that you can abduct the Colossi once they are in the game, and also use the Blinding Cloud to get Stalkers.
Very true. In color, we have a lot of Hydras on the way, +1 and Hydra range. He's probably going to add the Corruptors in, of course, to go with this when he goes to attack the third base. This is a really smart play, a very common play that we see from Zerg players in this matchup. Oh, he tries to save the drone, but does not work. He's going to lose the Hydra as well.
Yeah, one Hydra goes down, just barely saves the Phoenix.
Hydra's on a little bit of patrol here.
The big problem that he has is not that we have Colossi, that they are Colossi. No, let me phrase that differently. The problem for Hydra now is that he's facing Colossi, but the one thing that works in his favor is that the range upgrade was started very late. And with range for Hydras completed, Colossi and Hydras at this point have exactly the same range. So he can work with them. But I would really like him to see the speed upgrade. Did he research that already? I don't think he did, right?
I don't think so. I can check that for you.
Yeah.
No speed upgrade.
That surprises me a little bit, because with the speed upgrade alone, he can do so much more against the Colossi. Doesn't matter if there's range or not. He's going into the Infestation Pit now.
So yeah, for that transition.
Yeah, so the transition is something that we're going to see. But I'm not sure if that timing is really working out as well as he thought it would.
Yeah, this is going to be terrible if he tries to walk up this ramp. Already 4 Hydras bite the dust.
That was very... yeah, well, he was very optimistic that he would be able to pull that off.
Yeah, now he's got the Corruptors. He can see exactly what's going on. He's going to come here from the left side.
And he needs to target down the Corruptors, though. He cannot just run away like this.
Yeah.
He needs to focus them, and he focuses Zerglings instead.
And the Colossi are not even fighting here. The rest of these units are about to break up the ramp.
Yeah, and once they are up, the Hydras will be very difficult to deal with.
He should go for the Mothership Core. Well, he gets this Colossus instead, which is much better. I didn't see that it popped out. The slow on the Hydra is really hurting him here.
Yeah, the slow hurts him quite a bit. The Colossi taking out those Corruptors done much better than I thought they would. But still, with good micro, he can do a lot here. Problem is Blink isn't ready.
Yeah, no Blink, and he does not actually corrupt the Stalkers for some reason. He might have been on cooldown because he used a lot of corruption on those Colossi.
That went a lot better, though, than I expected it to be. Avenge did not really focus on those Corruptors.
Very true. He lost all of his Colossi, which are very expensive. It looks like Avenge is going to try to hit a follow-up timing here. He has a forward pylon. He knows he crushed the army. He's about to have Blink and +2. I like this choice to go for the counterattack.
That's a speed upgrade for the Hydra list. He might have just forgotten about it.
I think so. I mean, there's no reason not to have gotten it earlier.
It looks like he didn't realize it once when he was on creep, because the Hydras are just so fast when they are on creep, but then once they were off creep, he realized, well, I forgot the upgrade, so in the fight he couldn't use it. He doesn't take to Hive just yet. That's something that we will most likely see very soon. But now we have more Colossi out for Avenge with a range upgrade, and his army is getting much stronger, especially since he now has 22 Stalkers, so he can focus down on those Corruptors much easier than in the last fight.
Yeah, much, much easier. +2 finishing up here. Avenge looks like he wants to push out and be aggressive. He could just take a 4th, but with the situation where he's at in tech right now, I like the idea to at least be aggressive as he's doing it. He has the resources to start Nexus. He's making a pylon.
With a very Wings of Liberty-esque style here. Not going into Hive, not going into Viper, completely using a Roach Hydra composition that is supported by a few Corruptors, actually by a lot of Corruptors. And he even gets the +1 attack upgrade because he wants to rely on them longer.
And it looks like he is going to make that Nexus. He's got a probe ready, but he attacks with it, just as I said. Avenge almost maxed out right now. He has +2, he has Blink, and he has killed several drones with his attack. With the Zealot.
This is all about the Corruptors. How well are those Stalkers able to take care of the Corruptors before they take down the few Colossi that we have? And
Let's find out.
He's sniping them way too fast.
Yeah.
With the Corruption spell, there's just no way to save them. There are only 2.
Now the Corruptors, though, a bit of a dead weight, but the great position here for the Zerg player, attacking from 2 sides, going down with some Corrupts.
Yes, Blink on the other hand, and can he really use it to his advantage? He's doing a decent job, not the best. Here come those Corruptions that you were talking about, Wolf.
He's trying to push through here, but the Stalkers blink and they chase, knocking down a few of these Corruptors.
And still the Zerg player ahead in the game in overall supply, but this is a good force that we have out on the map for Avenge, and those Corruptors, they can only corrupt the units. They cannot participate in the actual fight.
Exactly. The Zealots coming in here to tank some damage. Drones being pulled. The Colossus joins. It's targeted down immediately. Beautiful targeting. Great reaction time by Hydra. The Colossus falls so quickly, and it looks like Avenge is going to be pushed back yet again.
Yeah, he's trying to blink back once more, but I've seen better blinks, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
Roaches are closing the distance, forcing the Stalkers back, but there are quite a few of them. The Corruptor is doing what they can, corrupting once again.
He has such a large number of gateways, is able to push this back with great production. He's going to warp in 5 more Stalkers, another Zealot going down, Extractor is dead, Drone is dead, and it looks like he's going to get this hatchery if he targets it, he goes for it.
He's moving in, and even though the Blink, the Blink micro is not as good as it could have been, we've definitely seen better from other Protoss players, but it was good enough.
I love those.
Macro was good enough to take down this 4th base, which was the goal of this attack.
You're right. I love those cancels on that larva, by the way. It's something we very rarely see, something I talked about earlier today. So important to cancel units that are going to die as they spawn, in this case as a Zerg player. Even if you have the eggs, yeah, the eggs are almost indestructible, but once the units hatch, they're just dead. Great cancels there. You can use them at larva, that's more useful. Oh, he might actually catch this force here with the Colossus in the great spot. He can blink forward if he wants to.
He does. He does. This is a fight that Hydra cannot take.
Yeah, he cannot stick around here. The Colossus is doing so much damage. It will finally fall, but it did what it needed to do. Now he just needs to micro his Stalkers a little bit better.
Much better blink micro than in the last fight. Is it going to be enough, though? There's a lot of Stalkers, but the Hydras, once they are exposed, they will fall. The round of warp-ins is ready. Avenge is still on the same supply as Hydra, but this is a fight he's going to win.
Yep. And the supply, a lot of that supply, dead weight in the Corruptors. Avenge is going to blink forward and kill those Corruptors, the last of them. And he has a 4th base, remember, finishing up right now.
The problem for Hydra really is that he does not have any kind of transition ready. Yes, he has the Infestation Pit, but he never got Hive.
Yeah, no Hive means no Vipers, and with no Vipers, he's not going to be able to yank the units he wants.
Also, Blinding Cloud would be so helpful.
Extremely so. That Colossus that's walking is totally free to do as he will.
And the blinks are much better here. The Colossus is not contested anymore. There are no Corruptors left. And nice move forward with the Roaches, taking out the Colossus.
But the Blink Stalkers are microing very, very well. The Zealots tank the drones. I think this may be game. Hydra dropping below 100 supply here. More Stalkers warping, and he dances him. GG!
Avenge takes the series after being down 1 game, losing the first snap. He comes back with a vengeance. The Avenger takes the best of 3 and advances to the 2nd round of Korea.
Really well done. A good day for ESF. And Hydra showing some great play, but the timings that we saw, the unusual play that we saw from Avenge, the strategies he showed, ended up being too much for him in game number 3.
I did not like the Spire in game 3. I think that the Infestation Pit with a quick Hive would have been much better. It seems to me that he really is not confident in his abilities to use a Viper. On the other hand, he didn't see the 3rd, so the Overseer saw the timings and saw what was going on in the main base, but he didn't see the 3rd base when it was built, so he might have assumed, okay, you're going for another Colossus timing, and dropped the Spire because of it, because he realized, well, if I'm trying to go to Hive and then build my Vipers, I might not be ready. But later on, you could really see that a Viper composition would have done so much better. You can use the Abduct against the Colossi, and at the same time, you always have the option of going Blinding Cloud against the Stalkers.
I actually The Spire to me was okay, but the way that he executed the attack was a little bit iffy. And then when he didn't transition after that point, he needed to get the Hive earlier. He kept making more and more Corruptors, which were great at knocking the Colossi down instantly. But when you only have 1 or 2 Colossi on a fight and you have these Corruptors flying around, yes, it's cool to kill those Colossi, but then what are you going to do about the ground army? That was the problem for him.
And that's exactly the reason why Zergs like to go into Vipers more than they like to go
because
into
they're
Corruptors.
useful in multiple ways.
Exactly.
They can grab the Colossi, which is basically the same thing as targeting down with Corruptors, but they can also use Blinding Cloud against the Stalkers. They're a very versatile unit. You can get energy for free using the consumability. I can't remember the name of it.
Once you have no Colossi against you, those Corruptors have only one purpose. They can corrupt the units and give you a bit of an edge on the ground, but that's all they can do. Everything else is just dead supply. The Protoss player wins the series. We have Avenge advancing now. Hydra is back in Code B. And of course, we have one game left for you guys. We have Bial up against Jangwi. That's going to be the last best of 3 of the day here at the WCS Challenger League. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Stay tuned. And then we'll have another Protoss versus Zerg coming your way.